7月20日、日本時間、19日、米国時間に行われたシカゴ、カブス対ミネソタ、ツインズ戦で、今永昇太が圧巻の投球を披露し、チームの勝利に大きく貢献した。今永は7回を投げ、打者を巧みに打ち取りながら試合を支配、無駄な四球を抑え、相手打線に強い打球を許さず、安定した内容でマウンドを守り抜いた。特に、高低を使った配球とテンポの良い投球、さらに本塁打を許しても最小限の失点にとどめる修正力が高く評価された。試合後、クレイグ、カウンセル監督は、走者をためない今永の投球がここ数試合の好調につながっていると強調。専門家やチームメートからも、スプリットを軸とした投球術や試合運びに称賛の声が相次いだ。一方、今永本人は、シリーズ最初の2試合を分析し、各打者への攻め方を準備していたと説明。その上で、まだ完成した投手ではない、もっと良くなれる、と語り、さらなる成長への意欲を示した。進化を続ける今永昇太、その投球と周囲の評価を、ぜひこのママ動画でご覧ください。
Wow, still more shaping and molding as it comes to Shota Imanaga. You see the last 7 starts, well, that big ball of clay is becoming a masterpiece. A 2.31 and the average exit velo against 84.8 miles an hour. Cliff, we talk about it time and time again. The way this cat goes out there and has that innate ability to change the eye level, and he's been able to keep the ball inside the ballpark as of late. It's really helped some of his numbers, as we said, trend in that right direction. And today, his numbers, they were on his side. The Minnesota Twins, they came out there hacking. However, their game plan, it was a little off track.
Well, you know, when you walk one guy, that's what I was looking at, because I didn't look at the walks. You know, it just shows you how he's game planning and then going out there and executing. You know, it's hard to do sometimes when the ball's flying out the ballpark. Shota's a feel guy. And when he has a really good feel of the game and, you know, the game plan, I think he goes out there and execute. And what I saw today from Twins, you know, hitters was they were trying to ambush early on in the bat. And I said, okay, these are 0-0 pitches, everybody. So these, yes, you're going to have a couple knocks, and he did give up a couple base hits. But when you're able to throw the off speed early in the count, it gets them off balance, right? When you're looking at all these first pitch, you know, secondary pitches, I just always feel like it gives him the advantage to get to the splitter, his most efficient pitch. Mm-hmm. You can't get there if you're in 2-1, 2-0 counts. Now, you can get guys try to, you know, induce weak, you know, contact, sure, but it don't typically happen that way. I think today he established that he was not going to throw fastballs in the zone like he's been getting beat with when he's leaving the ballpark with those pitches. I think he stayed within himself, allowed himself to kind of get into a really good rhythm. I think the rhythm is so key for him early in the ball game, and especially against a team that's trying to, you know, go out there and ambush on the first pitch. He used it to his advantage.
Yes.
Craig, pitching, hitting, defense, seems like he had everything cornered today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with Shota today with seven great innings. You know, just on the attack, lots of strikes. Split finger was excellent today. So, you know, anytime you get 7 innings from your starter, you're in good shape.
A bunch of us are sitting there in March after Shota's start in spring training. He says that the key for me is to control the damage and make sure that when I do give up a home run, it's a solo shot. It seems like he's been in pretty much good control there the last 5 or 6 starts.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done a really good job of controlling the damage for sure, you know, and that's without walking people, which I think is harder to do, right? So I think when he does that, he's going to have success. There's no question about it, and I think that's what we've seen the last 5 or 6. You're right.
Seeing get some double play, obviously gets the fly ball outs, but
yeah.
On the ground.
Yeah, I mean, we played a good defensive game, you know, for sure. You know, Pete made a nice play. The double plays were a nice play. Even in the play in the 9th inning that Dancy picked up for Nico was a nice play. So, you know, those add up. They just make the pitcher's job easier, and we're doing a good job of that.
7 starts now. He's got a low 2. Just had that rough stretch right before that. What's been the biggest difference in this period that he was able to fix?
Yeah, I think I'd go back to what Bruce said. Is probably he's done a really good job limiting the damage, and it's important, right? I mean, you know, Shota is going to give up home runs. That's the nature of his arsenal. But you have to, when they come and how they come, that has to be a part of it. And he's done a really good job of that. He is limiting the home run right now, but I think the walk limitation is also I'm a big fan of. Doing a really good job of that. It's a good start.
What does it mean to you to see the concentration that your players still have in a blowout game in the ninth inning, like the plays that were made in the eighth and ninth? Bregman said that's what this team's based on.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you put out a lot of really good defenders on a team, I think that's the type of player that you're going to get. They value outs everywhere, bases, offensively, defensively. They know the importance of it. They take pride in it. Saw some examples of it today.
And Bregman to see just continue to do well.
Yeah, I mean, the swing in the first was really good. A couple other hard hit balls for sure. Hard hit balls yesterday. So, yeah, he's putting some good swings on the baseball and driving the baseball as well.
Pedro Ramirez had 3 scalded balls today. What have you been seeing from him that's getting into this point?
Well, we haven't seen much of Pedro, so I put him in the lineup a couple of days, and he's responded. He found some holes, and then he hit some balls hard, and so he's doing good. Look, this is a young player who had a very young player who had a great AAA season, and we're a little landlocked to get him at bats. But he kind of finished the first half not playing a lot, so he's getting a little opportunity. He's found some holes and had some good at bats.
One more, before the game, you mentioned Aaron Savali would be here the next couple of days. Is there a travel issue that he's facing, or is it just?
He's got 72 hours to get here, and that's how the player should have that right. He just got his life changed.
Okay.
Right.
Sure, can you describe your attack against these hitters? Working out there?
今日のその登板で相手のバッターに対しての自分の対策はいかがでしょう
3戦目だったので、過去の、この2試合も見ながら、自分でもある程度予想を立てながら、今日ゲームプランしていったんで、とにかく自分がやりたかったことがある程度できて、それは良かったことかなと思います。
It was game 3 of the series, and I was watching the first 2 games and kind of thinking about how I would attack the hitters, and felt like today I was able to execute my game plan.
Showed over the last 6 weeks, what's been the biggest difference for you, just in terms of getting the results following that rough 4-start period you had?
そのここ6週間、結果いいですけど、その前の4つの登板がすごい苦しい時期もありましたけど、ここ6週間で何を変えられたとか、どういう調整をしたって感じですか？
今はこうやってある程度自分のいいデータ悪いデータを出してもらえるので、それをしっかりと照らし合わせながら、悪いところばかりに悪いところも改善しながら、でいいところはさらに伸ばしながらっていうところをコーチと話し合って、やった結果今だんだん良くなってきてるんで、まだ自分は完成形ではないと思いますし、もっともっと良くなれる自信はあります。
Yeah, I think with the pitching coaches, giving me feedback and data about, what I've done well, what I've done poorly, and just looking at that and, working with them and trying to, make the good points better, as well as, working on what I need to work on with data points that I wasn't doing it as well. And I felt like, I was able to accomplish that, and I feel like I'm not a complete pitcher yet, and I'm not the final product, and I feel like I'm pretty confident that I can get better and better.
How much will you look at this outing and dissect it to the point of maybe even like a deep fly ball that was caught as to how you can improve?
例えば今日の登板を見て、例えば、深い遠くに飛ばされたそのフライが、アウトになりましたけど、そこをどうやって改善するとか、今日の登板を見て改善する部分は、自分はどう見てますか？
そうですね、ピートが深いところで取った、打球なんかは、自分としては投げミスですし、キャッチャーはもう少し、外すように、そしていいボールで勝負するように、要求してましたけど、自分が バッターの打ちやすいところに投げてしまったので、そこはすごい反省点ですし、本当に、ピートのキャッチも救われましたし、ああいうミスは、やってはいけないことだなと思っています。
Yeah, I think Pete made a great play, deep in the outfield, and I think that pitch was a mistake pitch on me. The catcher wanted a different spot to set up a different pitch, but I felt like I threw it in the zone where the hitter could hit it, and so I think that's on me. That's something I can reflect on to improve, and feel like just looking at those parts of my game and seeing areas that I need to improve on.
We're used to seeing Pete make plays like that, but what is that moment like from when you see the contact to when you turn and you see him get there and get that ball?
そのピート選手がああいうプレーをするのは多分みんな慣れてると思いますけど、実際そのマウンド上で自分が投げたボールが打たれて、振り返ってそこに取れるっていうその光景を見てどう思いますか？
本当にピッチャーとしてはもし抜けそうな打球が飛んでたとしても取れるんじゃないかというその期待を持ちながら、守備を見ることができますし、そうやって失点もたくさん防いでくれているので、ストライクゾーンでどんどん投げ込んでいくっていうピッチングができるので、すごく助かっています。
Yeah, I think it's really helpful, when you know that any ball that's hit to him, there's a possibility that he's going to make catch, even if you think it's going to get through. And I felt like as a pitcher, knowing that he's behind you allows you to attack the zone more. And he's been saving a lot of runs for us, so he's an impressive player.
Swings that you've been putting on the ball lately, how does it feel coming out of the break, picking up?
No, it feels good. Obviously, the first 2 days just felt a little off with what we were working on right before the break, but it felt better today. We kind of figured out what was going wrong, so it felt good. Felt like a swing felt just like it did in Cincinnati today, which was nice, so hopefully just keep that rolling.
You've said before, but does it feel like you kind of unlocked something like
it feels better. It feels much simpler.
How much would you like to see the whole lineup kind of keep the foot on the gas early on?
No, huge. Obviously, they got a lethal offense over there, so even with the wind blowing in today, you gotta keep the pressure on, and thought just the quality of a bat up in that lineup was good.
Alex, this team has played really good baseball the last 6 weeks now. Can you just talk about the feeling in here as you guys have stepped on the gas here?
No, yeah, 100%. I feel like we played good ball. We need to just keep playing consistent throughout the rest of the year.
How big has Shota been in that stretch? Obviously, the last few starts, he's found a lot of success.
He's been good. I thought he executed all 5 pitches really well today, and that's huge when he's got his 5-pitch mix working. And but some splits were good. The spin was good. Heaters were good up. A few sinkers too as well. So thought he did a really good job.
Defensively, just to make that grab there late. Just how does it feel to keep the defense up?
Feels good. I feel like guys are really good at compartmentalizing when it's not going well offensively, or when it is going well offensively, to continue to focus on defense and separate the different phases of the game. And I think we have done a good job of that.
I think just the ebbs and flows of the season. Sometimes the mechanics are a little cleaner, and sometimes you're getting better pitches to hit. But yeah, feel pretty good.
See the lineup produce the way it did today. Does it feel for a series like that?
Yeah, huge. I think just again, I know I said this yesterday, but just top to bottom, just grinding out at bats, making that pitcher, have his stuff for everybody in that lineup. I think it just makes his job tougher, and it gets runners on base, it gets runners in scoring position, and that we did a good job of driving guys in and getting guys on base and scoring some runs.
What's it like playing behind Shota these days?
Yeah, it's just efficient. You kind of know what you don't know exactly what he's going to throw, but it's going to be that 4 splitter, and I feel like guys are just super uncomfortable off of him, and they just continue to be that way. And I think he's just so efficient. You look up in the 5th, 6th inning, he's at 70, 80 pitches, and it's like he just goes out there and pounds his zone. He's aggressive, throwing strikes, and it's fun to play behind him for sure.
Michael, baseball's the ultimate marathon season, but can you talk about how this team has played really good baseball now for like the last 6 or 7 weeks?
Yeah, I think that's just trusting the players that we have. I think we're just playing really good defense. I think we're running the bases really well. Obviously, putting together like some really good at bats, and we've had some really good outings on the mound. We've had our starters pitch really well, guys in the bullpen coming in and shutting it down. So when you have all the clicking, you're giving yourself a really good chance to win.
When Shota's efficient, like you're saying, for a fly ball pitcher, how nice is that? Given that sometimes you're maybe expecting more in the air, but you're staying engaged because this is a guy who's pounding the zone, anything can happen.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that you don't really, can't really speak to fully, but at the same time, I think you just notice over the course of time just guys who are efficient and just, you stay in the rhythm of the game. Even sometimes, when it's not going great for anybody, it's like you still got to kind of lock it in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Shota's been great.
今回も最後までご視聴いただき、本当にありがとうございました。動画の内容を楽しんでいただけたでしょうか。もしよろしければ、チャンネル登録と高評価をお願いいたします。皆さんの応援が、今後の動画制作の大きな励みになります。それではまた、次回の動画でお会いしましょう。